Today we're going to look at money scripts and money disorders. Here at this graphic we've used the financial flashpoints, or those early experiences around money that will lead to money scripts, or beliefs around money can sometimes lead to money disorders. So financial flashpoints are so interesting to me. I love hearing my clients' first memories around money. Was it the first time that they saved up enough to buy their favorite toy, or was it unfortunately hearing their parents buy? I think just that conversation alone often uncovers these really strong messages that they carry into their financial behaviors today. I could give you guys descriptions about financial flashpoints based on the readings of clients and clients, but I think it's better to hear it from their own words. I love their website and some of their videos. This one especially is so well done that I would love for you to take a few seconds, they're really short, to watch their description of financial flashpoints and how it fuels money scripts. So let's go into money scripts, which are obviously developed out of financial flashpoints. Our clients' financial behaviors make perfect sense when we think about money scripts. They are multi-generational, meaning that the grandparents will pass down thoughts around money to the parents, to the children, and they're developed so early in childhood that they're so unconscious. A lot of times clients don't even realize they're only partial truth and believe them so blindly that they're so resistant to change. They're so ingrained in the culture and the context that our clients are in that it's going to take a long time just to bring up awareness about the money scripts to be able to change the financial behaviors. The Facilitating and Financial Health book did such a great job describing how to assess for money scripts. And I'm so glad of it because I believe that just awareness of money script can be so healing for so many clients. I want to briefly cover them, but again, the book does such a great job of details, examples, showing the practicality of how to use it in session, that this is just a quick overview, but go to the chapter 7. So first it's interviews. I've probably said this like a broken record, but I love learning about clients' earliest memories around money. You just want to talk about it, have it as a normal part of the planning process, and have clients start talking about their early experiences around money and their family history around money. I love to elicit stories about how their parents talk to them about money. And it's so shocking to clients sometimes to think about what was overtly said versus subvertly passed on around the meanings of money. Then there's a money script log, and any mental health professionals that have taken this class might notice that this is very similar to a behavioral log. You use this for any impulse behavior or inappropriate behavior or distressful behavior. So first you ask what was the thing that triggered the bad behavior, which in this example is like feeling depressed, and what went through your mind. And this is your money scripts. This is really, you'll hear what they think about money in the statement. So in this case, they felt depressed, so they said, buying things make me feel better. So you can see how money as worship or money status could be in the play. And then what was your impulse? And then was go shopping. And then what was end result? And that was spending $200 on shoes. That could be potentially like against breaking their budget or hurting their spending plan. Then there's a KMSI, which is going to be part of the paper we'll talk about in a little bit, which is really exploring the 4 different types of money beliefs or money scripts that could be a part of you. That's money avoidance, worship, status, and vigilance. We'll go into each one now and how they kind of play out. Money avoidance is based on 9 items. Really is thinking about I don't want to think about money, and this could be things like I don't deserve money, rich people are greedy, or even I don't know enough about money, I just think at numbers. They're associated with lower levels of income, lower net worth, younger, single, less educated. Also, unfortunately, mental health professionals like myself. To extremes, they can lead to money disorders like compulsive buying or hoarding, workaholism, and financial abling, and so on. Money worship is the idea that things, if you purchase things, you'll just be happier, and more money will make you happier. Associated with 7 items on the KMSI. Associated with, again, younger, single, less educated, lower levels of income and net worth. If you can think about it this way, it's associated with people who don't have money because they think everything will be fixed by money. And the reality is that study after study has shown that after $50,000, there's no difference in happiness levels. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 or $100,000. It's not going to impact your happiness as much as other variables in your life. Unfortunately, money worship is associated with a lot of the same money disorders as the last one: compulsive buying, hoarding. Just also like purchasing things without mindfulness. He's like, oh, if I buy this TV, I will feel better about the fact that there's a hole in my ceiling and water is leaking on me at night. If you know your client has this money worship script, it really gives you a better understanding of why they do things that to you as an outsider seem irresponsible or, I don't know, not the best move. The money status script is really this idea that rich people are somehow better, that if you make more money, you'll be seen as better. And also, the things that you have show your goodness. So they are associated with lower incomes but higher levels of wealth. So it would be individuals that grew up in higher levels of SES families. This would be very associated with gambling and financial dependence, especially. Then there's money vigilance. This is the only money script that is not associated with money disorders. It's all about trying to save money, keeping it safe, keeping it secret. Like you shouldn't talk about money, you shouldn't spend money. Associated with less revolving credit, tends to be higher income and net worth individuals. So let's talk about what it takes to be rich. Well, kind of. This is really, if you think about it, probably one of those circular causality issues where people with these money scripts and money beliefs tend to make more money, and people with a lot of money tend to shift their money beliefs to believe in the ones that are associated with it. So this study is so interesting. It's what makes the top 1%? What are the psychology of the top 1%? So they tend to have lower money avoidance scripts. They're not as fearful of what they're going to see when they look at their bank account. Significantly higher money status scripts. You have to imagine that in order to have that drive to keep on working, to keep on making money, you have to desire things like money status is usually associated with. Higher or non-significant levels of money worship and money vigilance scripts. There's always within them, though, an internal locus of control that they can accomplish, they can make money. This is different than the money worship script that I talked about earlier, that idea of, if I just had money, I would be happier. There's a sense of I can make money to be happier. And that's why there's sometimes a non-significant level of money worship within these individuals. There's higher level of financial knowledge, awareness, satisfaction. Because money is important to them. There's lower level of financial stress and fear of loss. You guys can imagine why. Higher levels of life satisfaction and confidence in investing abilities. more likely to admit that they've made mistakes in the past. I think that's because they can see in their pool of investing, which is quite larger than the lower 99%, that they can see that their successes have outnumbered their mistakes. And more likely to attribute financial success to their drive to increase net worth and their commitment to follow their passions. Again, this is this internal locus of control within them that they worked hard to achieve this. Finally, one of the not surprising findings of the article, to me anyway, was that there was a higher level of what is seen as a money disorder of workaholism, that the sample in the study made sacrifices to achieve that 1%, because they had an irresistible drive to work and to make money. That was an overview of money scripts, and now we're going to move into money disorders, which are always formed by the money scripts within our clients or even ourselves. Money disorders are any pattern of behaviors around money that are going to cause distress in the client. I know you guys are probably sick of this image, but it's so important to remember that those early financial flashpoints, memories, experiences are going to lead to money scripts or beliefs around money that will unfortunately lead to money disorders. There's some formal diagnosis of money disorders that are found in DSM. There's some other ones that will come up in your practice that are important to think of. The formal ones are compulsive buying, gambling, hoarding, workaholism. Other ones are just not wanting to think about money, or financial enabling, which is kind of keeping our children not self-sufficient in order to maintain a financial relationship with them, because you imagine there's some power when it comes to money. This also can be seen as spouses. Financial dependence, which is the counterpart to this, which is not working hard enough or not saving hard enough to be completely independent of other people's financial support. Financial infidelity is secrets around money in the family, and financial enmeshment is clearly the combination of enabling and dependence. So the KMBI, which you also will take, kind of measures if there's any of these money disorders that we're talking about, both the DSM ones and the non-diagnosed ones, the more informal diagnoses, I should say. So compulsive buying, um, there's a list of things that it's associated with. You also see it during the manic phase of bipolar disorder. Tends to be younger and single, slightly more in women, but men are guilty of this too, just usually different types of items. Lower education, lower income, lower net worth, really correlated with money avoidance, worship, and status. Is again, if I buy this, I will feel better, or I will be more liked, or I will be more respected. That's how you should think about compulsive buying. Pathological gambling is different than going to Vegas once a year. It's gambling that leads to impairment or problems within the family, being unable to pay for bills and things like that. Um, it's just really a preoccupation with chasing that found money, that winning money, which is almost more important than working for the money. It's more prominent in single men who may have grown up in wealthier households, but have less net worth as adulthoods. And it's correlated with money avoidance and thinking, not wanting to think about your own money situation, just wanting a quick fix instead of putting your numbers down on paper and figuring out what you need to do to get to the right financial situation. And obviously, it's not correlated with money vigilance. You have to be okay with losing money to be a gambler. Compulsive hoarding, this is just acquiring stuff again, significantly correlated with that money worship, that things will make me happier. It's also correlated with money avoidance, because you just don't want to think about how the knickknack you're buying at the antique shop is costing you 2 hours of your work salary. It's just a mindless purchase because you want it. And it's similar to OCD, and in fact, sometimes it is related to OCD. Workaholism is next. I think I have a little bit of workaholism myself, that it's hard for me to see this as a money disorder, but it is because it's a compulsion, a drive to work that creates adrenaline highs and a tolerance to being okay with working at a certain level, and it really does impact children and marriages. Uh, Most likely associated with men overall. Sometimes younger, but more income, more likely to have revolving credit, and significantly correlated with money avoidance and worship, for obvious. Financial dependency is when an individual is completely dependent on others for their financial support. It doesn't always mean that they don't have money, but it means that they don't save money. I have a very successful girlfriend who now is somewhat financial independent. That's only because she makes a great amount of money. But in her early 20s, she worked at Wachovia and made a good amount of money, but would spend it on boutique clothing or going out to restaurants. And she always needed her parents to pay her rent. And it always shocked me how much money she made and how she couldn't be independent. In a more scarier lens, it's also found in domestic violence. Anybody interested in learning more about how this plays out should really explore the Power Wheel, which shows how domestic violence isn't only the physical act of hitting. It's a process of isolating a partner, usually female in this case, in the Power Wheel dynamics, isolating them till they feel like they don't have any options other than to stay in this unhealthy relationship. It's also associated with less income and less education and single, but also remember it's correlated to being raised in wealthier families because there needs to be someone dependent on. Financial enabling is help that hurts. Is this the partner or the parent, the financial dependent person? It is um, finding a way to keep, I don't know, the people you love close by giving them money because it tends to keep them close. They want that money to continue. I see this as a very common problem in my practice, and I'm interested to see your thoughts on it. Financial denial, I am so guilty of this. I'm getting better, but I would just avoid thinking about money matters. I tended to not spend any money just so I wouldn't have to look at my bank statement. I had a lot of anxiety and shame that I had so much student loans and that I wasn't making that much money. And I felt like I would never come out, so I just didn't want to think about it. So it tended to be younger single females, like I was at the time. Also related to lower education, lower income, lower net worth, and lower childhood SES. I think it's really correlated to a sense of powerless around money, that you can never make enough to be rich, or that you're fundamentally different than rich people. Significantly correlated with money avoidance, money worship scripts, but it's not correlated with money vigilance often. So we're up to the second paper that's due on Sunday by midnight. It's for you to complete the two inventories we talked about, the KMSI and the KMBI inventories, and write a 3 to 4 page reaction paper. Think about if you're surprised by your findings. Can you remember some of the financial flashpoints that may have led to these money scripts and money disorders? Based on your money scripts and financial flashpoints, what money disorders are you most prone to? How can you take steps to avoid the money disorders? And then what I think is most interesting is, what do you want to teach your children or your future kids to help them avoid your same money scripts? Because we know these scripts are multi-generational, that you are passing along money beliefs to your children or your future children without even thinking. And I'm just interested to see how you want to fix that for them. It's going to be worth 50 points, and we can always schedule a time to talk if you guys have questions. But I'm looking forward to reading it, and hope you guys have a great week.